You know, there are moments in life that start so small, just a glance, a laugh, an accidental brush of the hand. And yet, they open the door to something we never thought we'd find ourselves in. Something dangerous, something forbidden, something that lingers in the back of your mind like a whisper you can't ignore. This is not a story I'm proud of, but it's one I need to tell. It started in the most ordinary way, at a coffee shop I'd passed 100 times before. I wasn't looking for anything, not really. Life was stable, comfortable, maybe too comfortable. I had a routine, a partner who loved me, a job that paid the bills, and weekends that blurred together like copy-pasted days. But under the surface, something was missing. I didn't even know what it was until he walked in. He wasn't particularly flashy, no movie star entrance, but there was something about him that made the air shift. He looked confident without trying, casual, but in control. And when our eyes met, I felt it, a flicker of something electric. I brushed it off, telling myself it was nothing. Just one of those things that happen sometimes, a quick moment of attraction that passes as quickly as it comes. But it didn't pass. Over the next few weeks, I started noticing him more and more. He wasn't just a stranger anymore. We started talking, just little things. Casual comments about the weather, the coffee, the latest news. His voice was smooth, thoughtful. He listened, really listened, and when he laughed, it was genuine, like he wasn't trying to impress anyone. And somehow, in that quiet space between conversation and eye contact, something began to grow. I told myself it was harmless. I had every reason to believe it was. I never crossed a line, not at first. But looking back, the emotional connection had already started to take root. And that, more than anything, was the beginning. There's something intoxicating about being seen. Really, seen. He noticed the details my partner had stopped mentioning years ago. The way I wore my hair, the books I read. He asked about my dreams, my past, the little things that make up a person's soul. And in return, I asked about his life. He was bold, honest, a little wild in a way I had long buried inside myself. He reminded me of who I used to be before life got so predictable. It wasn't until one rainy afternoon that things tipped. I remember it so clearly, the sound of the rain tapping on the windows, the way the sky looked bruised and gray. I had gone into the coffee shop just to get out of the storm, but he was already there, waiting with that same calm presence. We talked for hours that day. I forgot to check my phone, forgot to care about the time. And when he looked at me, really looked at me, I knew I was in trouble. He didn't make a move. He didn't have to. It was the space between us that changed, the silence that suddenly felt heavy with meaning. My heart was racing and I could feel this invisible pull, strong, undeniable. I wanted to leave. I should have left, but I didn't. Instead, I leaned into the moment. I wish I could say I resisted. I wish I could say I remembered all the reasons not to, all the people who would be hurt. But in that moment, none of that mattered. It was like something took over, something bigger, bolder, and far more dangerous than I'd ever known. The first time we crossed that line, it didn't feel real. It felt like I was watching someone else make the decision. But afterward, reality came crashing in. The guilt, the shame, the weight of what I'd done. I told myself it was a mistake, that it would never happen again. But the truth is, once you've stepped into the forbidden, it's hard to walk away. There's a gravity to it, a kind of high you don't want to come down from. We started meeting in secret, texts at midnight, quick glances across crowded rooms. Every time I said, it would be the last time, but every time I found myself going back. You might wonder why. Why risk everything? Why keep going back to something that can only end in pain? The answer isn't simple. It wasn't about him, not entirely. It was about me, about the parts of me I'd buried under responsibility and routine, about the longing to feel alive again, to feel chosen, desired. heard. And as twisted as it sounds, the very fact that it was forbidden made it feel more real, like proof that I still had the power to disrupt the script I had been following for so long. But of course, nothing this reckless lasts forever. It all unraveled faster than I expected. One small slip, a missed call, a text left unsent. My partner grew suspicious, and one night everything came to the surface. The confrontation was raw. No screaming, just silence that cut deeper than any words could. Watching someone you care about realize they've been betrayed, that's a pain that doesn't go away. It lingers. It lives in your chest long after the dust settles. I wish I could say I made things right, but sometimes there's no clean resolution. We tried to fix it. Therapy, long talks, even time apart. But trust, once broken, is hard to rebuild. And the worst part? I couldn't even fully explain why I did it. Not in a way that made sense. Not in a way that made it okay. He and I, the man from the coffee shop, we ended too. It wasn't built to last. What began with fire ended in ashes. Once the secrecy was gone, the magic faded, and I was left alone, holding the pieces of two lives I had shattered. But here's the thing. This story isn't just about mistakes. It's about understanding, the quiet desperation so many people carry, the longing, the emptiness, the need for connection that goes deeper than routine. It's about the danger of pretending everything is fine when you're starving inside, because that hunger will find a way to feed itself, one way or another. I'm not here to justify what I did. There's no glory in betrayal, no redemption in secrecy, but I am here to be honest, to speak what many are afraid to say out loud. Sometimes the biggest danger isn't in what we do, it's in what we ignore. If there's one thing I've learned, it's this. Honesty, real, raw honesty, is the only way forward. With yourself, with your partner, with your pain. Because if you don't face what's missing, you'll find yourself looking for it in all the wrong places. And believe me, some places you don't come back from the same. So if you're watching this, and you're in a place of temptation, or confusion, or deep emotional need, pause, breathe. Talk to someone, anyone, before a glance becomes a conversation, before a conversation becomes a secret, before the secret becomes a storm that takes everything with it. Because once the line is crossed, there's no way to uncross it. I couldn't say no, but I wish I had. Not because it wasn't real, but because what it cost was far more than I ever imagined. And in the end, what I needed wasn't forbidden, it was honesty, with myself, with the life I built, and with the people who truly mattered.